everybody, Realm Builder Guy here, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my review of Imperator Rome 2.0. The Marius update, of course, came out on the 16th of February. I'm recording this on the 18th of February after spending a few hours in the game, checking out all of the new features, and kind of deciding it is time to bring Imperator Rome to the channel. Maybe if just as this review or some general updates, but I felt like it was needed. Imperator Rome is a game that I really enjoyed for a period of time and then kind of fell out with, like so many people. In fact, I haven't touched the game in nearly a year, almost, I'd say probably about 8 or 9 months. And the reason for that being is just a lot of other things happened and it wasn't a priority game for me. Now, when it first launched, I, like so many, like tens of thousands, jumped on it and said, a Rome game as a PDX Grand strategy game, fantastic. And yeah, I think after about 3 hours of gameplay, I was done with it, to be honest. I just didn't like it. I thought it was clunky. It just wasn't right. It wasn't a great game, to be honest. And then with the Cicero update and then the Menander update, it became closer to a truly finished product and became one of my more favorite games. But now with the Marius update 2.0, I mean, it's basically a new game in many aspects. And so I wanted to give it a review, show you guys some of the features that I have picked out as important and that we can kind of talk about and highlight them, and maybe why you should give Imperator Rome another chance, as I certainly will. Now, as always, likes are much appreciated. Subscribe also so you don't miss out on any grand strategy content, be it Imperator Rome or Crusader Kings 3 or other things here on the channel. I will have a link down in the description to my Nexus GG store where you can buy both the game Imperator Rome as well as the Heirs of Alexander expansion pack, which is the addition to 2.0, and I will talk about the expansion features towards the end of the video. But let's dive in, and the first thing we're going to notice, we're going to start a new game, is the fact that it is a completely different looking game. You can see it right here. It looks different. So let's just pick Macedon because I enjoy them. We're going to click on Start and dive in. So what has changed? Well, one of the biggest things, and again, I'm going to go through this through everything that's free with the update and then talk about the purchase options at the end. Of course, I do have the DLC, so or the expansion pack. I don't know what we're calling it, a DLC? I think a DLC, right? So we're going to go with that. But we're going to go through first features, then I'm going to talk about some game balance and AI things. All that's free, and then we'll talk about the expansion pack features towards the end. So, free. Free. The first thing you'll notice, it looks completely different. They have completely revamped the user interface, and I like it. I like it a lot. They also added this little Atlas map mode, which is really cool. And I listened to an interview with Argeo, who is the head of the design team or the game director for Imperator Rome, and he said the inspiration came from German atlases, especially historical ones, and that is kind of what I felt, but I didn't want to just say that because I didn't know. But you can see here, obviously, the major cities, and it's cool. The Atlas mode, it really doesn't help you much in gameplay, but it looks cool. It's great for screenshots. So anyway, so as you can see, a lot of things have changed. So the top header has basically moved over here, and I feel like these are, the icons they use now are more, how should I say, intuitive? That's a word, right? Yeah, intuitive, that's definitely the way to go with it. So overall, fantastic. I like almost everything. Almost everything. There are a few little things I'm not huge on, if I'm perfectly honest. And I'm going to kind of stick with what Lord Lambert said in his review as well. And what he said also previously was just Not a huge fan of pie charts, but what I like now, they did a little hot patch fix where if you scroll over it, it'll show you the percentage in all of these. So whether it's your culture or religion, as well as your population, I guess, overview of percentage of what are freemen, what are citizens, tribesmen, slaves, etc., etc. So they have fixed that. The other thing that I'll quickly mention that I'm not a big fan of, if we show opinions, that turquoise background with the green and the blue, the red you can see, but green, I can't read it, and I'm not colorblind. I mean, you have to scroll over it to see it. This needs to be changed. So there. Those are all the negatives. Negatives out of the way. Now it's purely about positives. So aside from the user interface changing and just looking great, it is a beautiful game now. I would say it has the best looking maps, period. You have a bunch of different map modes here, of course, that you can pick from and add to. It's just fantastic. I'm a big fan. So again, that's the user interface. Now let's go over to some of the changes. The biggest change is really how the military operates. So click on the military. You have levies and legions. Now we are a monarchy in Macedon, so you have a legion right away. The thing about legions are they cost a lot of money. This is their current, this is the Stratos of Macedonia, or Macedonia, however you want to call it. And they are costing 3.5. So as you can see here, their overall cost, I'm not seeing it in here, fort maintenance, wages, fleet maintenance. Either way, I don't see it here. Interesting. But they cost money. Levies don't cost any money. These come from, it's kind of like, think of it as Crusader Kings 3. So if you go to war, you can raise all your levies or just some of your levies. And they will then pop up. And pop is the key word. So the levies come from your integrated pops in times of war. There's no maintenance cost for them. Instead, it's population cost. And those pops then, not slaves, are taken out of your economy. So your production goes down and so on. So then your money starts to go down because obviously you're producing less income because there are less people out there. Plus, if you get stack wiped, as far as I understand, you actually lose a huge percentage of those pops, so they are gone. So thinking about war in a levy sense is key in being strategic about it, because if you lose those pops, it could have a huge damaging effect to your economy. Also, if you are focused on levies and you're constantly at war, your economy will tank because you don't have the population to produce the revenue that you need. Conversely, if you have legions, legions are very powerful compared to levies, but they cost you a lot of money. So again, it'll hurt your economy. I would say, especially if you get into the mid and late game, legions are more the thing to do than levies, unless you're a tribe, because as a tribe, you only have levies. You don't have legions. So if you're a tribe, you may want to think about becoming civilized so that you can get legions, because early game, your levies will overwhelm your enemies, but once Rome gets legions, they can roll you pretty quickly. Now, the other thing is, of course, monarchies get legions right away. If you are a republic like Rome, you actually have to make decisions, unlock technologies or innovations, however you want to call it, and advance towards that. So that leads me to the next topic, and those are inventions. Again, these are the key free features in the game. So if we go to the invention tab here, now you can see you have martial advances, civic advances, oratory advances, and religious advances. So technology advances now provide one innovation, see here, innovation per level. As you can see, we've got 2s across the board, so we have 8 innovations available to us. You can spend these innovations in new branching trees to specialize your civilization. So if we go to martial advances, you see here you've got this really nice tree. If you want to move it around, press and hold the middle mouse button, and you can kind of scroll around a little bit here. Make that a little bit smaller or larger. If you are a republic like Rome, the professional training is what you need to be able to make the decision in your laws to get legions. So going down this one. The other nice thing is they have this new planning mode. So say you want to go here. It can show you you can kind of plan which way you want to progress through here and kind of check it all out without having to commit to it. So there's all of that. So you can use these innovations. Say you want to go with military artisans. It'll cost 1. Macedon gains 1 free province investment. Military provincial investment costs minus 10%. Click OK. It gives you the effect. And boom, now you can start moving down here. If you had that planning mode, it helps you kind of map out previously which way you want to go. Now, there's so much going on here, whether it's civic advances, oratory advances, and religious advances. I'm not going to go through all of them here. This is kind of an overview and a review. But this helps you map out the different ways you want to go with your innovations. I tested it and kind of played around and just did the first one for each one of these just to unlock the direction. But this will help you map out which way your civilization wants to go. And that's a key thing. What kind of a game has Imperator Rome become? And Arheo, the head of the game design team, said it is a civilization builder game. And you are building your civilization. But I'm going to get into how you can play Imperator Rome to really get the most out of it in a little bit. So again, we have talked about innovations now. We've talked about the major updates to the military in terms of legions versus levies, but there's more to talk about as far as features go with the military. Now, you can, with legions, you can also add the cohort of engineers. Now, what do the engineers do? The engineers is a new unit type which aids in river crossing, sieges, and paving roads. And I'll get into the game balance stuff when it comes to especially the road stuff. So they are an important one. Tack them onto your legions. Always do that. And, 1 engineer per 10 other units negates those river crossing penalties, which, of course, is something to keep in mind. Then the new Legacy of Alexander war goal for all the successor kingdoms in which the ownership of conquered territory is flipped immediately. So that's kind of one of those things. If you're one of the successor kingdoms, as far as I know, that war goal, though, only exists for the lifespan of the original ruler, but I may be wrong there. But that is what I think I heard, but don't quote me on that one. If he dies, you may lose that war goal. But it is a way to expand. Then the other thing is if you go to war, say we attack these guys down here, occupying a province's forts and capital now occupy the entire province. You don't need a carpet siege. You don't need to go in and siege every single province or every single territory within the province to get the entire province. If you siege down the forts and the capital, boom, you got it. It is all yours. Now, the next thing in the free features are buildings, ports. You can construct ports in any coastal territory. Now, previously it was predetermined where ports could go, but you can just plant them anywhere here. And if you are a coastal nation like Macedon, where you have a lot of different options here, you can put it anywhere. And that's kind of nice that you can, you're not limited, and you're on the coast. If you want to develop a certain area and say, I want to port here out of strategic reasons, then you're able to do so. Now, previously, it was predetermined where you could put a port, so you had to be a little bit more strategic about how you develop your country, your provinces according to that. Now, that's less of a case. You can kind of plop them down wherever, and you say, hey, I want a naval base up here. I want to build my navy up over here because then I'm quick out this way. That's fine. Or if you gain a territory, say up here, and you want to put a port here just so you can build ships here to go through that sea, then that is fine as well. The other thing quickly about buildings, they now contribute to civilization level and territory, so keep an eye on that. When you go into a province, you have your building screen here, and you have multiple different ones you can build, and it'll tell you, for instance, a granary here, local civilization level of plus 2%, provincial food capacity plus 200, and the cost is 66 gold. Your gold being up here in your treasury. One thing I forgot to mention about the military, combat width has been changed a little bit. Now it is more dynamic and based on terrain, kind of like a Crusader Kings 3. Terrain will determine your combat width. So there too, you know, if you are in a mountainous terrain, it's a little bit narrower than if you are in open plains. How do you know if you're in open plains? Well, look right here. They've changed this. I love that they added the settlement in here, the graphics. This is, again, part of the UI. It shows you the plains, how things look. If I go to my general here, you can see in the background, it's the landscape he's in. He's in plains, and that changes dynamically, which is really, really cool. I love what they've done visually with this game. It is absolutely fantastic. So now let's talk a little bit about the game balance features that have come to Imperator Rome. So manpower pools up here, they regenerate faster, which is great. So, you know, you lose a war, or even if you win a war, but it was costly, you're not stuck waiting forever to get your manpower back up. So there's that. Freemen and tribesmen now provide increased manpower. So that's something to keep in mind. The engineers, I did talk about them a little bit ago, and the build road cost is reduced by engineer cohorts. Food production is now also possible without a surplus, which is fantastic. And they reworked a number of the buildings. I forget, you know, the different bonuses and modifiers that you have with them. They changed some of them. I don't know all of them. I'm not going to go through them, but this is what it is. They did change them. Population growth speed and capacity now scale with civilization value. So civilization value is one of your key things you need to keep an eye on. Can't see that here anywhere, but civilization value is very, very, very important. Tribesmen. Now they have changed some things for tribesmen. Let's find a tribe here. There we go. One of these guys is a tribe. And with tribesmen, they actually consume less food. So aside from the fact that unique thing there is that the levies that you raise as a tribe populate within the tribal chief's lands, but they also consume less food. So that's great, because I guess they live off the land a little bit more, theoretically. The next big thing in game balance that has been tweaked is pop migration. So the speed has been reduced significantly with the exception of tribesmen. Again, tribesmen migrate. That is historically accurate. All settlement buildings now reduce migration speed from their territory by an additional 25%. So that brings it to minus 100%. So essentially, and these are the notes coming directly from Paradox, this will now effectively remove migration unless there are extenuating circumstances, occupation, famine, unrest. But migration has basically been eliminated from the game unless there's a major cause and unless you're a tribe. Civic technology. The next thing we want to talk about here, where are we? Technology. So, civic technology. Civic technology now grants 1% population capacity and 1% global food per level. So each level you increase here, you can see there, pop capacity up 2% and monthly food modifier plus 2%. So if you want growth in your population and you want to have more food, going down the civic advances is very important. But they no longer grant commerce income. So that's something to keep in mind. Then there have been some other changes here to monarchies. Let's see, where can we find it? So if we go to our government, you can name an heir. So you have this little anoint button right here. Monarchies can choose a primary heir from their pretenders. So we have one here that is Philippos, but we could pick Antipatros, Alexandros, or Plestarchos. So you can do that now. On top of it, they have added the elective monarchy as a government type, which is pretty cool, actually. Adding another government type is very important in elective monarchies. It's kind of that bridge gap. You almost have your republics, and you have your oligarchs, your monarchies, and now you have not republican monarchies, elective monarchies, so it adds something like that. All cultures or culture groups now have a levy template. So let's go here. So here you have your Macedonian, or Macedonian. And you can see down here it says heavy cavalry 15%, heavy infantry 35%, light infantry 50%. So when you raise your levies, that culture will basically, the pops belong to this culture can raise the following levies. That is what those levies will be. So if we go over here to the province of Europa, these are Odrysians, so their levies are 5% heavy cavalry, 15% light cavalry, 20% heavy infantry, and 60% light infantry. So as I already mentioned, levies no longer have a maintenance cost, but their pop cease producing base resources while raised. So that's a key thing. They've also changed something here with, if we go to trade, you can still see your different trade goods. If you go to a province, you can see it's been expanded here. And here's the other thing. You can enable or disable automatic trade. If we go here to the nation overview, administration, provinces. So you have all your provinces listed here, and you can either do an automatic trade or do it yourself. So if you have a very competent governor, that may be something you want to delegate. If you're not a micromanager, that's maybe something delegate. I equate this to, I play a lot of Football Manager. If you are a Football Manager player, this is basically giving your assistant manager training. I mean, it's delegating, or your director of football contract signings. If you don't play Football Manager, that all means absolutely nothing to you. But that's kind of how I do this, or how I view this. I messed around with it. It's not super great if you don't have great governors, but it does lean to certain types of play styles. And I'll get to play styles at the end. Then strategic, I'm saying a lot. I apologize for that. Make it a drinking game if it bothers you. Strategic trade goods have no bearing on levy composition, which is really cool. So they just assume that cultures bring their own horses and elephants with them. It's just like the way it should be. It's like you raise levies here with cavalry, and they go, I'm going to take my old donkey with me, and that is now part of it. And you don't have to supply it through strategic trade goods. There's also a provincial fortress limit, which has been added and will incur costs when you exceed it. So that's something to keep in mind there. AI. They have also tweaked the AI quite a bit. So it's significantly better at economic diplomacy, which is great. Get some of the exploitation out of there. It also changes missions after 60 years if it's been following the same one, which is really good. So mission trees are there. I'll get into mission trees when we get to the expansion features here in a second. And the other one that I really like is that AI nations with republic or monarchy government types will be far less likely to expand into tribal territory without a pre-existing claim. So you won't see Rome go here and then all of a sudden shoot straight up here to conquer all this. Instead, they will focus on similar government types to conquer first before they go after tribes, which is a little closer to the way it happened in history. So if you're Rome, you're going to try to eat up some similar areas down here and then maybe go over to Greece. And I've seen some time lapses. And overall, what you're getting out of this is a more historical expansion of the AI, which is something I really enjoy as an historian. I like seeing that play out. I do like a historical sandbox off, and that still happens. But just so you know, Rome AI is still powerful. So that doesn't really change. The Antagonids tend to fall to pieces. Armenia tends to grow well, and Egypt is also quite powerful. The Seleucids often form Persia, and then, of course, Maurya. They gobble up all of India super fast, so keep an eye on those guys over there. Carthage, I've seen them go either way. But that is the key thing, is just the expansion. The AI has been improved a lot, which is huge. So now let's talk about the expansion features. So this is the $9.99 Heirs of Alexander expansion pack that you can get on my Nexus GG store. Link in the description to support the channel. I, of course, paid for it. This isn't sponsored by Paradox. Paradox didn't send me a code. I pay for all this stuff out of my own pocket. Now, there are a few things to talk about. There are 18 new Diadochi mission trees have been added. So those cover Thrace, the Antigonid Kingdom, Egypt, Macedon, and the Seleucid Empire. So these are basically the heirs of Alexander. Hence, it's called the Heirs of Alexander. So they have new mission trees, which you have to pay for. But it's great. I like mission trees. I like to kind of follow them. If we go here to missions, let's do Pearl of Macedonia, start the mission, boom. Here is your mission tree. Again, middle mouse button lets you go through that. And you can kind of pick which way you want to go and how you want to expand. It's a nice guide, because obviously it gives you certain goals and completion. Like if you, Elimia breeding program, task has unfulfilled conditions, etc., etc. But if on completion, Macedon loses 800 gold, but will now produce horses. So, those are kind of the missions, but there are specific ones. 18 mission trees added. That's huge. Then for legions, where's my legion? There's Stratos. You have these right here. So you have Legion Dedication, Legion Primogenia. You can look at the history, which is really great for people that like to play like I do, a little bit more role-playing. And according to a recent community poll here on my channel, 76% of you are also more role players than min-maxers. So what can you do? You get 24 honors and dishonors can be earned by legions, distinguishing or disgracing them with their actions. And what does that do? Look at this right here. Unit modifier, Legion Dedication, morale of armies plus 5%, army movement speed plus 10%, discipline plus 5%. And you can see this legion has already done stuff pre-game launch. Cassandros led Stratos of Macedonia to defeat by Apollonia at Apollonia. So they lost, so cool. Anyway, that has been added. Then there are 13 new deities have been added, so it makes religion way more interesting. So you've got your Hermes, Heracles, Zeus, and Aphrodite. Everything else is basically the same that I can see. You can also now take the treasures away from holy sites and so on. If you can take the treasures, desecrate things, it's a lot of fun. It's awesome. So you can actually acquire 29 new treasures. But here's the other one you can do. And let's see if I can find it anywhere. Let's go to our province. There we go. Great Wonders. It's right here in your province screen. Click on Great Wonders. You can now design your own customized Great Wonders to be constructed. They are expensive. They're very expensive. Let's generate a new name here. The Lantern. That's great. The Beacon of Amphipolis. So you can window top. Well, let's go portico top. Boom, change. Stone. Now let's go ebony. Looks cool. The middle, Pharos Lighthouse. Let's make it a step tower. And let's make that marble. Boom. Very nice. And then the base, Stoa. Let's go with a circular base and make this. Oh, heck. Let's make it gold, baby. Shining. Yeah, here's the kicker. 4,623 gold is what it'll cost. So then you can pick your effect. Will it give you military education? You know, or tax and commerce. Yeah, let's go with tax and commerce. So you get 7.5% national tax modifier, 7.5% national commerce income, and local import routes +2. Let's do a side effect here. Cultural. So the Cultural Memorial, Macedon, monthly civilization change plus 0.4%, local civilization level plus 5%. And let's do another one. Let's go to military and military tech investment plus 10%, and local research points plus 20%. So these are mega powerful, and they will pop up like here. It'll pop up on your actual game map, and that is so cool. That is so cool. Here we've got settlement, Great Wonders, the Palace of the Argaeids. You can destroy it too, which is, why would you do that? But what a Great Wonder placement does, it actually focuses the AI to try to capture it. So that is another thing to keep in mind. So Great Wonders Designer is huge. So why get the expansion pack? The main thing it adds is the Great Wonder Designer, which of course is exploitable if you're a min-maxer and you make a ton of money. That's not how I like to play. You've got the 18 new Diadochi mission trees, 24 honors and dishonors for your legions with, obviously you've got those different modifiers, 13 new deities, and 29 new treasures. So I bought it, of course. I recommend you get it. If you already have the game and you've bought all the DLC so far, why wouldn't you spend the extra $10? Just do it. you won't regret it, and that'll complete it. So those are all the new features in a nutshell. So what's my opinion now of this? What do I think of Imperator Rome 2.0? So my personal opinion is it has become one of the best Paradox grand strategy games they've made. What do you compare it to, and how can you play this? Of course, you can min-max any game. So that's of course. What do you compare this to? Is this EU4? No, because EU4 you don't have characters. Here you can role play those characters. If you are an RPG type player of PDX games, if that's what you love about Crusader Kings 3, this is really a game for you because you have so many characters and you can pin these characters to your outliner. And if we look at, where's a family? Characters. Here are characters. Look at all these characters. So you need Scholar, Victorious, Tactician. So they have attributes, and you can play and role play accordingly, depending on who they are. You've got your different families you can pick from. So you can play a true role play, almost CK3-like game. But again, you are building a civilization, but you can take multiple directions as things change. If you play non-min-max, like 76% of my subscribers say they do, then this is a fantastic game. Is it always going to get you the win? No. It gives you the experience. That's what I say about Crusader Kings 3. It's about the people, because that's what history is. I'm an historian. I will say this. It's about the people. The events are dictated by the people. The nations are dictated by the people. And this allows you to do that. EU4 for me is a great game. It's not antiquated by a long shot, but it is a more min-max friendly game. This is not CK3. CK3 is most definitely a RPG first, realm building game second type game. I feel like the RPGers amongst you will enjoy CK3 more. The min-maxers will enjoy it a little bit less. So what do I compare this to? I've also been putting in some hours now with Stellaris. And honestly, it reminds me a little bit of Stellaris. Stellaris, you can, of course, min-max, but you can also roleplay. You can build your civilization, your empire, and you can do the same thing here. So that is my recommendation. If you really want to get the most out of Rome 2.0, you play a little bit less min-max, a little bit more RPG, and it just opens up so many amazing storylines. I also believe that if you've bought the game and you kind of fell out of love with it, like a lot of people did, go back in. Invest the $10 to get the Heirs of Alexander expansion pack. Again, link in the description. Or just, do the freebie, kind of see how you feel, because the free added features for 2.0 are huge. So that would be my recommendation. I absolutely wholeheartedly recommend this one. Now, if you are interested in me doing a Let's Play series on Imperator Rome 2.0, please leave that comment down in the description. Let me know if you're going to give it a go. If you're new and you've been curious, but you can kind of put off by a lot of the negative reviews on Steam, ignore those. Those are from the original launch. The game has completely changed since then. I would say this has the potential of being the best Paradox Grand Strategy game. And that's not by a long stretch. They still have a few things that I think they need to work on. Mainly, not mainly, but one of the main things here is this has to change. I'm sorry. If you are, red, green, colorblind, you are completely screwed here. So, Paradox, change that. I'm going to take a screenshot of that when we're done here. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helps you. I apologize for the ums. I don't script. I probably should script more of these reviews, but I kind of just go with the flow. It's more fun for me. But next time, maybe I'll script if I do one of these reviews. Again, let me know in the comments your thoughts on Imperator Rome then and now. Let me know if you want me to do a Let's Play series. I would love to do one. Maybe I'll do one no matter what you say. And don't forget to hit the like. Check out the links in the description to the Nexus GG store where you can obviously buy this game and many other games to support the channel. Check out Patreon where you can support the channel. Discord where you can join a growing community, and of course Twitch and Twitter. I promise I will stream in future. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. You need to figure out my schedule. Until next time, I'm Realm Builder Guy, and I will talk to you soon.